What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. What's going on? Welcome to the overview show with Turkish coming through. A busy morning in the Premier League, a hell of a weekend in the Premier League as well. Turkish, what are you saying, bro? How you feeling?
Yeah, I was feeling good up until the Conte news. But listen, it is what it is. You know, Tottenham are in the mud. I don't know if Conte can drag them out of that mud, but it looks like they're going to give it a go. I'll stick to Arsenal's form and the big win we had against Leicester and say I'm happy.
Yeah, I think this is where this is the perfect. To be fair, this is the perfect show to talk about what's going on, because in a way it could affect Arsenal and what you're trying to achieve. If someone as good as Conte taking over Spurs, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about my team, obviously Manchester United, who was linked with Conte only last week. We stuck with Oli, and now he's gone to Spurs. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to give respect to the show and what the show is as well, which is talking about all of the Premier League. Aston Villa in trouble at the moment, struggling. Yeah. West Ham on an absolute high. Palace, they shocked City, done a number on them. Patrick Vieira building something over there at Selhurst Park. Brighton with a fantastic performance over at Liverpool as well. And obviously your boys doing well. And another loss for Norwich down the wrong end of the table as well. So we're going to get into all of that. But there's no other place to start, Turkish. Sorry, I've got to start with Man United and Spurs / Conte / Nuno / Oli and all of this stuff. I must say in a minute, it looks like Conte's going to go to Spurs. The reports are they've offered him an 18-month contract. They've got rid of Nuno very quickly after we stuffed them, which wasn't very difficult to do because Spurs are that bad.
Yeah.
As an Arsenal fan, and this isn't me asking, would you prefer Conte over Arteta? I don't think that needs to be the conversation. I think that what the conversation should be, what the question is as an Arsenal fan with what you're trying to achieve this year, let's just say top 4. I know ideally top 6 and stuff, but why not? You're Arsenal, you're building again. Why not be pushing for top 4? If West Ham can, why can't Arsenal? So in your quest for top 4, are you now worried seeing Antonio Conte go into that Spurs side, bearing in mind January hasn't come yet, might get some players, whatever?
I don't know how much Conte can have an impact this season. So listen, on one hand, I don't think Arsenal can get top 4. And if it's going to be a realistic target, I think we're going to have to rely on other teams to continue dropping points, continue being in and around that fight up until, March, April times. And then I might stick my neck on the line and say, yeah, top 4. But with Tottenham, I feel like Tottenham's team, the squad, they've seen better days over the last few years, especially under Pochettino. I don't think their squad is primed for a new manager and a new manager with the badges that Conte has over the years, come in and change it all around, just managerially. I think the problem is a bit deeper at Tottenham. I feel like they was premature in sacking Pochettino. They made the wrong decision with Jose. A couple of their players, albeit Son has signed a new contract, but with Kane, you can see a bit of unrest there, maybe a lack of form and eyes maybe at the future. So he's got a massive job on his hands. But at the same time, listen, when Arteta's head's been on the chopping board over the last few months and year at Arsenal, I've always said Conte is that guy in terms of who you can bring in and have an immediate impact. So I am weary that Conte is that bracket of manager that I'd put just below a Pep and a Klopp. And I feel like he takes challenges head on. You saw that over at Inter Milan too. And he was a success there. So I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit worried about it. But at the same time, I'm just going to remain calm and hope that, he can't turn it around at Tottenham. Because listen, Inter, they have a massive history. And Chelsea, okay, not a massive history, but they had a history before.
Winning history of, 100%.
It's different with Tottenham. Tottenham don't have that history. So Conte coming in, yes, he commands respect. Yes, he's one of the top managers in the world, but it's a very different challenge for him.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying from an Arsenal point of view. It's interesting to hear that because obviously the conflicting kind of feeling to that is in our fan base. If you look on social media, if you speak to friends that are United fans, there's a lot of meltdown that Man United missed opportunity to get a manager who is better than Oli, that they perceive to be better than Oli and can definitely come in and win now with this squad that we've got. Do you know what I mean? It is. I see I agree with what you're saying about Conte going into Spurs. I think he makes them better. I think he makes them more organized and can probably get more blood out of that stone that is Spurs with that squad. Yeah. It's whether it gets to January, gets a few more signings and stuff like that. And let's face it, he's his intention or his criteria of success is not going to be winning the league. It's going to be getting them back in the top 4 and just get any trophy, whether that's the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup or the Conference League or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Getting back into Europe. But I'll say this on our point, like I think we have to look. Ollie's still our manager, but I do have to look at it and say, what is the real ambition of the club then? Because here we are looking at Spurs, who have sacked Nuno. What is he? 2 points worse off than us. He's actually played some of the big boy teams this year. He's only been there 4 months, and they went over a manager they wanted in the summer who they couldn't get. Us, we've showed that under Ollie, progress is limited. Genuine progress is limited. There was a chance to go and get somebody there, and our board decided let's relax a bit, let's chill. And I was saying before I come on there to someone else, I was like, do you know what? Forget whether you're mad at Ollie, whether you think he's the right guy or not. The fact of the matter of which is the more concerning thing is that Manchester United Football Club do not want Conte. They don't want him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's how I see it anyway. If they did, they would have went, okay, Liverpool, Conte, after Liverpool, Conte is there, chilling on a boat somewhere in Italy, chilling.
You saw that with Jose. When you lot sorted out Jose before Van Gaal was out the door, basically.
He was ready. Exactly. Ready. Just finished. While Van Gaal had his hands on the flipping FA Cup at Wembley, they were calling Jose. Or probably had it sorted even before that game, I dare say. But the complete lack of ambition, I think, shown to go and get a top-class manager. And look, it happened with Pochettino at the time. Ollie looked like he was on his ass. Looked like Poch was going to be the guy. They held fire. They said, no, we still back this process. We're still going to go with this. Pochettino goes on to bigger things. And it looks like we've done the same kind of thing here. So it's not about being disrespectful to Ollie. I've said many times, my thing is not with Ollie at the moment. Like I can see what he's not good enough at. Yeah. And the fact that he's still there, I think, is where we need to look at. And the fact that the board have gone, you know what? Let's face it. City, Liverpool, Chelsea, that is the top 3 in whatever order you want to put it in. Chelsea are doing bits. They were always going to be challenging for the title, and I think they will be. They are there. So that means that out of those 3 teams, we're the worst under Ollie. We are under Ollie. So really what we're saying is we've got a battle for 4th, and that's acceptable. And secondly, what we're saying is now Spurs are going to enter that battle. West Ham are going to enter that battle. Arsenal, like you said, relying on other stuff to happen, but you never know. You could be up in there in that battle. Why not? Leicester. And I just feel like it's a bit of a shambles of a decision.
Well, if you look at the big 6, this is how I see Arsenal and United. We're very much in a similar place. It's just different sizes of club and different sizes of revenue. That is the difference between us. Essentially, Arsenal have the worst owner in the big 6, and Man United have the second worst owner in the big 6. That's facts. Now, I see a lot of people in the chat saying, Spurs showing more ambition and this and that. And that's why I don't get Spurs fans' frustration with Levy sometimes, because I keep on saying this. Tottenham have found a place at the top table in terms of the big 6 and so on without winning a major title.
Yeah.
So they've got to give, Levy some credit there. Without winning a major title, they're at the table with Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United.
And even Leicester won the FA Cup and put themselves one of Premier League. They've won stuff.
Exactly. And they're still not at that top table, let's say, in terms of revenue. So Levy's done dare I say, an amazing job over there to get them at that top table. And then Pochettino didn't seem to be working out. He proactively tried to do something. Now, that's where I think he went wrong. But at the same time, if you're bringing in a manager like Conte now, and you've had 2 managers in between Pochettino and Conte, which is obviously Nuno and Jose, it kind of shows that at least they're proactive. At least they're realizing that maybe this was a mistake or maybe this was the wrong direction, and they're trying to change it up quickly. With us now, it's like, with you guys, you tried Moyes. Okay, you was proactive in changing that around. Van Gaal, proactive because Jose was available. Jose's a winner. When Jose come in, we kind of saw the end of Jose. And since then, it's just been like, you lot have just put all your eggs in the Ole basket, like Arsenal have put all their eggs in the Arteta basket, and they're just running with it. Now, at the same time, I've seen Arsenal and I've seen our owner put Wenger through the mud. As much as, Wenger divided fans, the reason he divided fans so much is because he was laid out to, accept all the blame, be the face of...
Hung out to dry. Yeah.
Yeah. So if that can happen to Arsene Wenger under our under our ownership, I think us fans need to start realizing that these board members and these owners are literally trying to pull the wool over our eyes, because you just said it. It's nothing against Ole, but Ole is not good enough to be a top-level manager. And I'll say it with Arteta. It's nothing against Arteta. He's showing good signs, but he's not good enough right now to be a top-level manager. That's why Conte worries me a bit, and that's why Pep and Klopp are so far gone. There's only a few top-level managers in the world. Simeone's another one. Then you have the lower, like Ten Hag's and the Nagelsmann's coming through or whatever.
On the way up, yeah.
So I think that it all comes down to our ownership, bro. It all comes down to our ownership. I'm tired of hearing Tottenham fans moaning about their owner. They shouldn't even be at this top table, but they are because of their owner. They've got a brand new stadium because of their owner, not because they've won. We've had to win things over years gone by, Arsenal, United, Liverpool, to build our name, City and Chelsea more recently. Tottenham haven't had to do that. Tottenham have come to the top table.
So they fast-tracked. They fast-tracked.
Yeah, fast-tracked. I don't want to hear their fans moaning about their owner. I'm sorry. They're lucky to be where they are. So
you know what's interesting about what you say? Big up the Campbell Life says United in the mud, bro. Shit is sad. No ambition. And big up to David. David says big up flexing Turkish, inspiration to us youngers. I'm so frustrated our board doesn't care about United fans. Ollie out. Big up David and any youngsters watching. You lot want to do your podcast, you want to jump on YouTube, have your say and build your platforms. Do it, man. Don't wait for somebody else to do it, man. You lot have your voices. You lot have got the technology. Do you know what I mean? We're old. We have to learn it a little bit late. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, big up the youth coming through, man, of all the clubs. It's interesting what you say, because it's like you dive into it in a way of like, because at Man United, we've never really cared about Tottenham. And I'm not saying you lot have, but obviously because of the rivalry, you will always kind of look at it like, hold on, you're just Tottenham. Like, you will always be Tottenham to us. Like, how are you here? And that's interesting. I never really looked at it that way, because they're just Tottenham to Man United, isn't it? It's like Roy Keane said in Pundit the Tree the other day. He goes, even when I used to play, we just turn up. It's Tottenham. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's weird hearing you talk about it like that, but it's absolutely true. But the bit that gets me, and this is where it's back to a Man United standpoint of view, it's like, hold on a minute. We are actually seeing Tottenham, a club that I just described that we don't really bat an eyelid at, as having more ambition than us, to have a better manager, to build, to say, actually, like you said, we don't even win stuff. We're in a Conference League. We're in the UEFA Conference League, not even challenge. Our criteria is not even to challenge for the Premier League this year, but we want a manager like Conte, and we want him now. That's my issue. Tottenham. So that's where our thing is more of that side of like, hold on, little old Tottenham are starting to show more ambition than us with their board. Like what you said, kind of looking at the Levy situation and their board of going, because I was saying to, I think it was Abby the other day when we was filming the Premier League preview, and I was like, it was off camera, I was like, but why are you lot so, I said, I was just joking, I said, look at this stadium, like, what are you moaning about? Like, what? And she kind of broke it down, saying they haven't really invested into the squad. Look at the state of our squad. And yeah, their squad is shit. It is. They've got some bad average players there. So I was like, well, it's still going to take time. You can't just get that overnight. And at least it's a platform to them build, bringing in the revenue from the NFL. And so I get their frustrations that they want it now. But it's like what you said. It's like, you've never been really winning. Like, so what?
When Tottenham moved into their stadium, they had the best ever squad I've seen Tottenham have.
Yeah, under Poch, it did.
And obviously, off the back end of the stadium move, things haven't really gone well. They've got to keep into account that there's been a lack of fans at the stadium due to COVID. There's big fees on that stadium. And same time, they broke their transfer record. So I still I'm not hearing it from Tottenham fans that they're upset. Like, who do they think they are that they can be upset? I just don't understand it.
As the real Arsenal bashing.
No, I don't understand it, bro. They're lucky to be here. Levy, built up the best squad they had in my life. They're at the top table. Now they're getting Antonio Conte. Like, what do they think? That it should be a league title next? Come on. Like, enjoy the moment over there, because the moment, they haven't got that. You see, Flex, we're vexed because we're fallen giants. Yeah. We are fallen giants. Them man ain't never been giants. So it's a different pain. It's different. That's why I look at them and think, what are you man moaning about? You might have never been that team to be moaning about not being that team. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm not hearing that. They had their Ali says
Toes is going to be on to you, Turkish, on the Big Six. He definitely
I'm ready
is.
For him. You can hear me. I'm warming up on this show. You can hear me. I'm ready.
I can hear the passion. And that's what's really that's what's so, like, it's such a coincidence that our show was today and it coincides with this, because from an Arsenal perspective, there's going to be that going on in your fan base of who do they think they are? Who are they? Like, just, you know, that's you lot's thing with Spurs, and rightly so. And it's so conflicting to our thing, which is less so much that who are this Spurs, this, that, and the other. It's more that what an embarrassment to us that we could have, you know, but to bring it back to a United point of view, we literally had that manager there. And what really worries me now is clearly we've seen the cards. We've seen what it was. Let Ollie stay there to at least the international break. Let him calm it down. Go with the 5 at the back. Stink it out. Not difficult. I mean, where is the longevity in that system? Ollie is firefighting right now. I get it. Yeah. Listen, if I was him in that position, leaking goals like a tap, I called it before the Spurs game. I said, Spurs are shit, but we have to go 5 at the back. We're conceding too many goals. He has to do it. But if you think about it, Gary Neville touched on it as well. And loads of other pundits and fans. Jadon Sancho's sitting there thinking, how the fuck can I play in the 5-3-2? Where am I going to play? Yeah. Mason Greenwood saying, all right, I can play up front in this system, but that's about it. How many chances am I going to get to do that? You got Rashford, you got Martial. Donny's still not getting in the squad. God knows what's going to happen with Pogba. Where is the longevity in that system in terms of going forward? That's not Ollie's favourite system. We haven't played that system in about a year, maybe even longer. We're clearly not trying to. We're clearly not even trying to play that system. It's a firefighting exercise, and whilst it might bring a calm after the storm, which is needed now, it will get us past Atalanta. I'm sure of it. It will probably get us past City in a weird way. Do you know what I mean? If you set up against City on the counter attack, that's how we've been beating them for a while. There's no reason why we can't. Look what Palace done. And then you get to international break, 3 wins out of 3, and you're like, okay, Ty's turning. He gets the rest of the season. Then when them players leave that I just mentioned, people like Martial, people like Donny, people like Pogba, people like, well, Ronaldo might even go, we're not even in top 4. I haven't played Europa League for my whole life. What am I going to do? Cavani's going to go because he's only got 1 more year. Naturally, he has to go. So we lose them players, and then it's a year without another trophy, not winning anything significant anyway. And then it's like, well, then who do you even get? Zidane's never going to come Man United. Ten Hag's a bit harder to get, but needs time if he came. It just pisses me off. We haven't even got to all the other teams yet, but that's where we're at.
We need to think about a manager, technical director, CEO. That's where we're at. It's not just a manager we need to think of. There's so many problems above our managers that it's hard to balance what we believe the problem is. Do we see problems with our starting 11s? Okay. Man United more so recently than Arsenal? Yes. Do we see problems with our managers' tactics? Both of us? Yes. Do we see a bright future? Both of us? Not really. But at the end of the day, is it on the manager? Not really, because they're both in a position they're lucky to be in, and it's not their fault. Same way, for years, I'm gonna use a player example. For years at Arsenal, I was on Walcott's back about performances, about kicking on. Like, we gave him the 14. He was meant to be the next best thing, and it just didn't work out. And then I said to myself one day, hold on. I think it was the day we gave him captaincy when it was Wenger's 1000th game and we got banged. But that day I said to myself, it's not Walcott coming in and saying, I'm starting today. It's the manager making that decision. And the manager in place is down to the board and the ownership. So in reality, how much can we get on their back when both of our problems stem from above?
100%.
We know
100%.
that.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. Someone said in the comments there, here you go. Sato says, Ollie is staying, accept it, Flex. 100%. 100%. And I do accept it. That's why I'm a little bit animated. It's that acceptance of saying, yeah, it's get to the season, end of the season, give him the whole season, which I did say I would do. Yeah. I hold my hands up and say that at the beginning of the season with the squad that we'd assembled, I said, you give him the season and see what he can win. Crashed out there at the Carabao Cup first time of asking. I don't need to talk about the form and the reasons why it went the other way, and I feel that a change is needed. I would admit that. But now it's like we're not going to win anything significant. Let's get real. We're not going to win the Champions League, and we're not going to win the Premier League this year. So then what is it? And I doubt we'll win the FA Cup. You never know, we might, but I doubt it. So what is it? What is it? So I do accept it. I really do. Another super chat here from Harris says, big up United waiting for Pochettino, maybe, question mark. I wouldn't count it. Yeah. I wouldn't count your chickens there, Harris. God knows, I very much doubt that. I don't think United are waiting for anyone right now, because I just believe that they thoroughly believe in and keep believing in Ollie. Adam says, obviously, when people with big platforms like Flex and a number of people kept saying Ollie should get the sack, but no, he won't. Words matter, because we all know the club's PR machines watch. Obviously, big platforms like Flex and a number of other people saying, kept saying Oli should get the sacked, but he won't. Words matter because we all know the club's PR machine. Are you saying that
You shouldn't
big
end it with
platforms?
that.
I should. Yeah, I don't. I'm not really sure what your point is there, Adams. I don't know whether you're saying that the PR machines kind of watched and they went against the general consensus who wanted Solskjaer to leave, or are you having a dig saying platforms? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't want to be rude and misconstrue what you're saying. So let me know with another comment there, Adams. We got to do the rest of the league. We've got to do the rest of the league. It was Man United against Tottenham. It feels weird talking about that now because we've kind of just discussed the deeper points there. Man United's next game is City. Spurs' next game is against Everton away. If Conte's there by then, Everton struggling. Do you think they can new manager bounce there?
I've always liked Benitez, so I don't know. Everton have been up and down this season. I don't think Conte is going to have an immediate impact. I'll be honest. Where is it? Is it at Everton or Tottenham?
Yeah, it's at Everton as well.
Yeah. I don't think Tottenham will win. I don't think Tottenham will win that.
Yeah, and Everton in bad form right now, though. On Man United, Oli playing 5-3-2, Ronaldo Cavani banging it up again. Yes, I say it against a really poor Spurs side. Tougher tests ahead tomorrow night, Atalanta, and then obviously City at the weekend. I dare say Oli plays the same system in both games. Can we beat City?
Of course you can. History tells you can, regardless of form and the difference in quality right now. So listen, Ole is that guy. When you lot went 2-0 down to Atalanta, I turned to my housemate. They're gonna win 3-2, and I was vexed by the end of it that I didn't put a bet down. Then you lost to Liverpool, and then I said Ole is gonna beat Tottenham, and that's what it's just. It just works like, and it's worked like that for the last few years. Anytime his back's against the wall, he pulls it out of the bag. Do I think you can beat City? Yes. Do I think you will beat City? I think because of the poor form they're in. Now, usually when you two play each other, it's like they're on top form. You are kind of skewed and you surprise them. This time you're both going in on pretty bad form. There's only 3 points that separate you. They haven't got a striker, a lack of it, and it's costing them. I feel like a draw is on the cards, if I'm honest. But you can win. You can beat them.
I agree. And in typical Oli fashion, I think there's a high chance we will. I think we'll win tomorrow night against Atalanta. That's 2 wins on the bounce with that system. Could be wrong, but that's what I feel like is going to happen. And then you go and pull off a big result against City. We'll go to Man City Palace now. We'll do a bit of City, and then we'll come to Arsenal and so on and so forth. Palace, turn up for the books, man. Turn up for the books. We spoke before about what Vieira's building there. Unlucky not to get the win against you guys. I feel like they're finally starting to get the results that their performances deserve. And what's wrong with City in that game? Is it just a little blip, a little typical City there? Pep get back to the drawing board. They'll be fine. One of them.
I think a lack of developing the squad, in my opinion. That Jack Grealish deal, obviously everyone was hyped about it, but Jack Grealish is never worth 100 mil. And only Jack Grealish coming into a team that's just kind of lost Aguero, even though Aguero didn't have much impact last season, and Sterling isn't favoured as much, doesn't scream to me an improvement. City's team has been better over the years. This is probably City's worst starting 11 for at least the last 4 or 5 years. So there's problems there. And the lack of a striker, what is it? Foden's their top scorer with 3, which is mad. I think they got away with it last year because the league was so all over the gaff. They had that 14-game winning streak, which kind of got them
and they started off bad themselves in like the first 10 games.
Yeah, last season it just took one team to grab it by the scruff of the neck and take it because it was a poor season. This season, Jack Grealish on top. I think Sterling on top form is a lot scarier than Jack Grealish on top form. So we've got, City have lost Aguero and Sterling over the last few years. Never mind the companies who they've replaced with Diaz and so on. They haven't replaced their attack adequately enough. They should have done the Kane or Haaland this summer, and that probably would have won them the league, but they didn't. Now, every other team looks at them now and thinks, you know what, we can get something here. If we set up the right way, if we don't, leave space in behind for their midfielders to run into, their wingers to get into, because that's where their threat is now. It's not at the focal point of attack. So, City's in a weird place. I feel like they've messed up not adding a striker in the summer, and I think that's going to let them down in the season.
especially now the other two teams, and I don't include us in this right now, even though we did get better and did get Ronaldo and Sancho and Varane, so you can technically throw us into it. But let's throw us into it because it's still a fact that we improved as a squad. It's especially because the three teams around him, Liverpool, Chelsea, and us, kind of started to bridge that gap. Chelsea went and got Lukaku, and obviously still had Tuchel. Liverpool, they got better in terms of just having their players back, not injured. I know they didn't invest heavily, but when you've got a Liverpool team that's back fully fit again, and if they stay fit, you can never discount Klopp because he's that good of a manager. And by being up there, in and around it, they're showing it as well. So, yeah, I agree. I think they got away with it last year. I think the gap between the teams have got a little bit smaller now, and you've got Chelsea now in the mix, and you've got Liverpool definitely back in the mix, not so much us, that they could come unstuck with that. But Palace, I like what Palace are doing, man. I like what Vieira's doing. I liked what he's done since the start. It's going to be it was always going to be difficult for him to shift that culture of maybe sitting in tight with experienced players, riding their luck a bit, staying in the game, and then waiting for a little bit of brilliance up front from Zaha and Eze towards the season, back in the season before he got injured, and little flash players like that. Jordan Ayew, not the best, Benteke, and even he's still there, but not the best. Do you know what I mean? Just trying to. What you would get with Hodgson, because he's a very vastly experienced manager, is players like in there, Gary Hill and your Joe Wards and your McCarthy's and your what's the central mid's name again? Billy. I can't remember his name. The guy who takes all the pens. I can't remember his name. Milivojevic. Sorry, Milivojevic. Players like that, just workman-like players.
Did you see Zaha's interview after the game?
What did he was saying about now we can keep the ball and play out the back and stuff. He's just completely turned it around. And when players kind of revert to talking about the manager and the system change, you can see he just feels more free. He's playing on the front foot. Young players like Gallagher, Elise looking really good. It's gave him a whole different dynamic. Your old manager as well. You must be pleased to see him doing it.
Not old manager, but legend.
Sorry, your old player, your old legend. Sorry, not old manager. But you must be pleased to see him doing well.
I am. Listen, I want Vieira to do well in every game bar the Arsenal ones this season. That's how I see it. Listen, not only do I want Vieira to do well because obviously it's Vieira and an Arsenal legend and so on, but obviously for black coaches in the league, over the years they haven't been represented, enough. So I think for that fact alone, I hope he does do well. You can see what he wants to do. You have their best player over the last 5 years in Zaha coming out and speaking positively about him, saying we're playing at the back now. This is finally a style of play he can get with. So in all honesty, I hope he does well. I really do. I hope he gets a top half finish and remains there moving forward, because it's a ruthless league, 4 or 5 games without a win, and then it looks very different. So I hope he just continues it and keeps on kicking on.
Yeah, I'm sure he will at the moment. Reeves says those dirty Glazers trying to save money, but by keeping that guy, you will lose Van de Beek, Pogba, the Champions League money. Amazing business. I know you're trolling there, Reeves, but being ironic, but it's true. It's true what you're saying. Gallagher has been on fire this season, says Abisa. He has. He looks really good. I saw him doing an interview on Sky, just talking about all the loan moves that he's had. Year on year, building, and I think it's a great story for young players in this country to say, don't be afraid to go on loan. Don't be afraid to go and get that experience. You might feel like you haven't really got a home right now, but go and test yourself and build yourself. And that's what he's done. I know Smith Rowe's done a similar thing as well.
Yeah.
Where was he? Huddersfield, innit? And he done well.
Huddersfield, he went Werder Bremen. It didn't work out for him there. But yeah, he's been around before he kind of.
It's an important part. Exactly. It's an important part. Palace's next game, Wolves at home. Fancy them?
Yeah, I do. Wolves have been funny this season. So
they have. You never know what you're going to get with Wolves, innit?
Yeah, and I think after this Man City win, Palace really need to, get another win under their belts before international break and just enjoy the next couple of weeks after.
Yeah, 100%. And we know who his next game is against, and you kind of spoke about Man United being able to beat them, so we don't really need to go into prediction with that. Your team. Let's talk about your team, man, because what I will say as a rival fan, always looking to laugh and troll, and the social media derby, as some people call it. And I think it's just the connection of knowing all the content creators. We're always back and forth and having a laugh and that. But I will say this, I think at least whether you think Arteta's the right man or not long-term or whatever, I think you have to give respect to saying he's giving enough at this present time just to keep us watching the series. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Episode by episode,
Yeah.
I'll watch another episode of that. Yeah, that was all right. I'll watch another episode. And you look at the players and the confidence. You look at Aaron Ramsdale. You look at Gabriel and Ben White forming a partnership. Lokonga starting to get his feet under the door.
Yeah.
Tavares being called in because the sick note Tierney's always injured. Tomiyasu impressing. So you're just building a little, and the young players like Smith Rowe's going from strength to strength. I just feel like you've got to give some credit where credit's due to Arteta. But how are you seeing it? Good performance against Leicester. Big test. Leicester in good form going into that game. Beat us up. Beat Brentford. Tough game. Would have fancied their chances against you, and you lot had none of it.
Yeah, you know what? I'd actually go as far as to say that's probably Arteta's best performance since he's been in charge, and that includes the FA Cup run and whatnot. Because
does that include the Tottenham game as well, or you just blitz them as well, and the Villa game?
I'll include that because the Tottenham game, I felt like it was a very sick 45 minutes, a decent 10-15, and then it was like a shake, not a shaky, but it could have been better for the last half an hour or so.
And he did concede as well, actually.
Yeah, with Leicester, I feel like 80 minutes of that game, similar to Aston Villa, 80 minutes of that game, we was comfortable. Let me say, maybe not in control at all times, but comfortable. We didn't see much of Vardy, Iheanacho. Maddison had the free kick, Ramsdale save. You know, that was a pivotal moment before the second and before the end of the first half.
That would have been a game changer. Yeah.
Second half starts and Ramsdale makes a couple more saves, and that kind of sees the game through. Really, I say it's Arteta's best performance because the FA Cup ones against City and Chelsea was like we picked them off and took our opportunities. Whereas now he's got his team, and you're starting to see
it's a different thing now.
It was like he implemented what he wanted to do away from home against Leicester, and it worked. And it was a clean sheet. It was a 2-0 win. They're on form. It's not like even though they're 10th, prior to this game was 4 wins, 2 of which included Man United 4-2 and Brentford away 2-1. And we've seen Brentford in other games. That's a strong side.
And playing well in Europe as well.
Yeah, that too. So I think it was a big win. It was needed. It was necessary. And Arteta's doing enough right now to, like you said, to, tune into the next episode and see what goes on next week. It's one of those ones now. You can't really run too far away with form because I've seen form before from Wenger, from Emery with the 22-game unbeaten run.
Yeah, remember that when it was like we got our Arsenal back, Emery was 22. I remember that. Yeah.
And then you finished 1 point off top 4. And in that season, we're not happy. But when we look back, it's like 1 point off top 4. Finishing 8th twice, we'll take that sort of a season again. But I'm just taking it I'm taking it 4 or 5 games in a block at a time. Like right now, I'm looking at Watford before international break, get the job done, go in there, top 5 in the Premier League, top 6 in the Premier League. Nice. Because
good turnaround. And what would that be? If he wins against Watford, would that be unbeaten in 10 or 9? Would it be?
Yeah, well, if you include League Cup, it'll be 10. But in the league, it's 5 wins, 2 draws. So yeah, it'll be 8.
Which after such a bad start, and I think back to when Edu was doing an interview talking about please judge us when our players are there, our signings are there. You have to kind of look at it and say at that point of the season after 3 games when you were getting spanked, no clean sheets, no goals. Yeah. Ben White was just about in there, not really. Well, he started actually against Brentford, but he was there. But Rob Holding was next to him. Yeah. Tomiyasu wasn't even there yet. Tavares and what's his face, Tierney, they were kind of just battling it out, seeing what's going on. Lokonga very, very new. No Thomas Partey. I just feel like Ramsdale hadn't really got there yet or cemented himself. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of was right in terms of let Mikel Arteta just get his whole thing there, and then let's see. And really, since he's put his marker down, like we were just saying, there's enough there to say, okay, let me keep tuning in to see where you're going with this.
Now listen, when there's cons, you know me, I talk about the cons. When there's pros, I'm not one to shy away from the pros. I'm not one to not hold my hands up and admit that I might have been wrong. This ain't me saying I am wrong, but this is me saying I might be wrong. But I'm also going to say I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. That's the best possible scenario for me. At the end of the season, top 4, hold my hands up and say, Arteta, Edu, my bad. I should have believed more in you. But at the same time, is it understandable that I haven't believed in them when you're signing Willian and you're telling us that we need patience with him halfway through a season? That's Edu. So as much as, it seems like he was right in our team coming back and giving it a chance, he's also done things in the past that have been questionable. And I think Arsenal fans going into the Emirates Stadium, we didn't question anything. For 10 years, it was like, we're selling top players, fine. We need to pay off the stadium. We're in top 4, but we're not challenging for the league, fine. Like, we're not in a place to challenge for the league yet. We haven't got the finances. We haven't paid off the stadium. I feel like because of the piss taken out of us for all of those years, now we're so quick to question. We're so quick to ask why. We're so quick to say who. We're so quick to be like, what are you doing? But that's not our fault. That's the way the club have treated the fans and put us in a position to be questioning them. One thing I hate Arsenal fans being called is impatient. I don't think you can find another big club that wins titles and goes 10 years without a league title, and their fans are still somewhat patient with the man in charge.
Now you've got every right to be pissed with where your club's been over the last 8 years, 5 years, whatever you want to call it. So.
Edu, Arteta, yes, they faced criticism. Edu in particular, I might be wrong on it. It looks good in the past 7, 8, 9 games, but I want it to look good in May. That's what I'm focused on now. In May, I want to look at the league table. I want to look at the performances. I want to look at the achievement and say, okay, I can see something now.
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Someone said there that one thing that has impressed me though, as an outsider looking in, definitely right with what you're saying there, is actually something that you haven't been able to attribute to any Arsenal side of recent times, is being defensively solid, not weak-minded. Application to the performance. Do you know what I mean? And staying and concentration in key moments. You know, when last it's there. You know, I can see that at the minute.
You know what pisses me off? Over the years, I've been vocal about Mustafi, for example. Koscielny's another one. Bellerin's another one. I actually like Monreal, but there's been defenders here and there over the years that have been like, listen, we're not going to get out of that stigma of being soft and you can be bullied without changing personnel now. Because anyone that comes up against Hector Bellerin knows, you know,
they knew they could rinse him.
Troy Deeney's mentioned him a few times. Anyone that sees Mustafi on the pitch like a Zaha, they know they can get at him. Koscielny, Barry Ferguson robbed my man's head after scoring a winner in the Carling Cup final. I was done from there. So unless you change these personnel, your fortunes are not going to change. Now we've got a whole new backline and keeper in terms of Ben White, Gabriel, Tierney or Tavares, Tomiyasu and Ramsdale. That means other teams are looking at it now and thinking to themselves, well, what are they going to bring? How different is it going to be? And I think you've seen over the last 8 games a difference in our defending.
100%.
We're not solid, but we are organized. We are structured. We're becoming a lot more press resistant. And it goes down to crediting Edu and Arteta for some of the purchases. Ramsdale, mad. I can't believe he's come in and done what he's doing.
Man's doing up Edison distribution and that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know distribution was his thing. That's why I was so hesitant to praise that transfer. I was thinking to myself, hold on. Ramsdale, I haven't heard much about his distribution, but we're bringing him in for 24 mil. It didn't make sense at the time. Hands up now, I see it makes sense. Do you get what I'm saying? People need to understand opinions can change. That in this YouTube world, and fans in general, people think if I say one thing, I have to stick with it. No, if you say one thing, look at how it goes after that and decide whether you still, agree with your point.
That's the key. The key there is being able to make an accurate assessment once new evidence has been presented to you. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? And people, it's only the people who do still, nah. Ramsdale's still shit, man. I don't care what anyone says.
Don't be a flip-flop. Don't be. What is a flip-flop, my bro? Like, obviously.
A flip-flop is KG, bro. That's what a flip-flop is. No, listen, Turkish, there are such things as flip-flops out there. They do exist. And that is game to game. That's the emotional. Okay. So KG, literally, Fred scored against Leeds or it was Newcastle. Leeds, I think. He said, we're going to win the league. He said, oh my God, Fred even scored. He said, we're going to win the league. Yeah. That's what KG said. Then the next game, I think we messed up against someone else, and then he was like, "Yeah." So the flip flops are out there, bro. Just don't be one.
Even when we returned against Palace, and it was 2-2, I got at least about 7 messages and a whole heap of comments in live chat saying, "See, look what happens when Xhaka's not there." Yeah, that is a flip flop to me because then against Aston Villa and against Leicester, I could turn around to them and say, we don't miss Xhaka after all. But that's what happens in fan bases now. It's like every 1 or 2 games, it's like, you're wrong. No, I'm not wrong. And you're not wrong. Give it time. Give it time. Let's find out who is wrong,
Yeah. And in football, in sport, I think, we're basing our opinion off of human beings who we're relying on to have a certain level of performance week in, week out, which is very difficult just as a human being, as a sports person. Whether
Yeah.
you watch darts, whether you watch equestrian, whether you watch this. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one knows the real facts. There's very few facts in football, apart from, okay, yeah, Ronaldo is one of the best players of all time.
Yeah,
Kevin De
yeah,
Bruyne is very good. Those kind of things are facts. But
yeah.
in terms of who's going to do something next week or who's going to do something in 6 months' time, there's
Yeah.
very, very few
Listen,
facts, if any.
people would have thought that Messi goes to France and he scores 8 in his first 4 games because the league.
Apparently, it's a farmers' league.
But look at what's happening. I'm not saying, I haven't seen much of Messi over there, but I know he's not doing what I thought he'd be doing. So,
Exactly.
like you said, nothing is really factored. Even Ronaldo. Okay, Ronaldo's come here and he's done what we thought he's going to do. But that isn't a fact because it's circumstances around it too. Yes, Ronaldo's been one of the world's best players over the last 15 years. It doesn't mean now he comes in and, he takes Man United to the next level, which a lot of people thought. It all comes down to...
And it shows that with all the problems that we've got, you can't just get Ronaldo and hope that everything's going to be all right. It actually got worse. Not because of Ronaldo, but I'm saying in general, it got worse. Let's keep it moving. Let's quickly then. We've got about 15, 20 minutes left, about 15 minutes left, and I want to kind of push through all of these other fixtures. Chelsea with a very comfortable, easy afternoon against Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know what? It's difficult for Newcastle because they know the new owners are there. But like we all said, and I'm sure you would have said the same thing, knowing your football like you do, you can have all the new owners that you want, mate, but you still got them players till January. And as of now, they still don't have a manager yet to even up their level. And even if they do, even if they put a Conte there, it's like with that team, until it gets to January and they can get some reinforcements, they're in big, big trouble. But on Chelsea, very comfortable. No Lukaku. Tuchel's been talking about he wants other players to step up. He wants other players to score goals. You got Chilwell chipping in. Reece James with 2 peaches. Clean striker of the ball, Reece James. Genuine title contenders. They're just proving why they are, innit?
Yeah.
Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, I predicted they win the Premier League title this season, and
did you? Did you say? Okay.
Yeah, and I still don't doubt that, if I'm honest. I think Liverpool are the one team that have surprised me in terms of how they've, started this season, kicked on. And that's probably the only team that I see maybe upsetting the odds for Chelsea. They're still winning without Lukaku as well, scoring 7 in one game, 3 and another 10 over 2 without their big boy striker. So if he can come back in and find some form and they make it work over there, then they could potentially walk with this league title at the moment, or it could be a 2-horse race with Liverpool.
Especially if City are going on, I wouldn't say a little bit of a wobble, but you never know if they lose to us on the weekend. And Chelsea beat, who have they got next? Chelsea have got Burnley at home, so you're expecting them to get 3 points. They're starting to open up a little bit of something to hold on to there. I know it's very early, but it'll be enough to say, you know what? Let's see how this pans out, because we're in pole position right now, and Liverpool got a tough trip to West Ham away, which is not easy at all.
So Chelsea have played a few away games. I think Chelsea have played us away. They've played Liverpool away. They've
played Spurs away.
Yeah, so they've had a few. The second half of the season looks better for them than other teams around them, I guess.
Exactly. And then after the international break, they've in a couple of games into it, they've got us at home as well, late November. So we'll see how that goes. You lot, we're over 1,000 people watching, 1,300 people watching live. Let's get them likes up, man. People always do that. When people walk in your yard, forget to take your shoes off to go straight to the fridge.
Yeah.
That's you know what I mean. That's what it is, man. That's what it is at the moment. So let's get them likes up, man. Next game I wanted to talk about was, let's go into Liverpool Brighton. Let's go there. Liverpool Brighton. Little bit of, after such a high of beating Man United, 5-0, all the Liverpool fans all on social media doing this, doing that. And I'm not saying they're out of the title race and get back in your box. I'm definitely not saying that, because they pulled our pants down. But a lot quieter from them this week. And even Klopp kind of saying the body language of his players just a bit off and stuff. Was there did they get emotionally kind of too high after the Man United thing and kind of slept on Brighton? Or is it just testament to Brighton and just shows how tough the league is? Any day, anything can happen. I
think the form was probably a bit more right. I think after a 5-0 away to your fierce rivals, when you're at home against Brighton, I think...
And 2-0 up.
Yeah, not necessarily switched off, but thought the game was done. And they had a couple of goals disallowed to make it 3, I think, by VAR. And to be honest, Brighton at the end had the goal disallowed to make it 3-2. So listen, it's credit to Brighton. Brighton over the last few years, you've seen what they're starting to become. And I think this season, it's taken that next step where even if they go behind, they're still very much believing in Potter's way, and they still come out the same way. And they've got their style of play and their tactics, and it seems to work more often than not for them. But then again, last season they did finish very close to the relegation zone.
Yeah, and the season before that as well. I think they finished like 17th and 16th.
They've got to start turning them good performances round to more wins and more points, even if they don't get over the line. And that's what they did against Liverpool. 2-0 down, 2-2. You can't complain if you're a Brighton fan.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I mean, Brighton just look like they're going from strength to strength under Graham Potter, and you have to respect what they're doing, to be honest. Dean Smith at Aston Villa, struggling, bro. Struggling at the moment, post Jack Grealish. I liked their signings, what they done after Jack Grealish. I thought they got out of Jack Grealish a much better balanced squad when you look at the players. Struggling to fit them all in at one stage. It was like, actually, I'll go over 5 at the back so I can accommodate Ings and Watkins. It looked like they were doing at one stage. It was working for a bit. It definitely worked against us. But they played that system against Wolves, 2-0 loss. So 3-2 loss after being up 2-0. Came to you guys, got their asses handed to them, had to change at half time, back to the back 4. Started with the back 4 against West Ham, tried to be on the front foot, Leon Bailey one side, Buendia the other. Nothing. And West Ham obviously in really good form. Dean Smith saw Agbo on the horse post sort of saying, listen, stick with Dean Smith, he'll be all right, up the villains, etc., etc. Obviously he's going to do that, Villa legend. But how do you see it for Dean Smith? Do you still think he should be stuck, given the vote of confidence to turn this around, because they're in a bit of a tricky spot now?
Yeah, in all honesty, I don't see Dean Smith taking them on there. I think Aston Villa over the last year or two, they've kind of not switched philosophy, but they can see themselves pushing maybe the higher positions in the league. And I don't think Dean Smith will take you there. We just talked about Potter and Brighton. I think if you put Graham Potter in charge of this Aston Villa side, you've got a top 8 side, definitely, potentially breaking top 6, because Aston Villa have got a lot of talent. Even the way they replaced Grealish, I actually liked it. I think, who did they buy? Buendia, Bailey on the wings.
Danny Ings.
Danny Ings up front, adds goals. I think that's very good reinforcements. It's just that Dean Smith ain't the manager to really take them on. I understand the relationship they have and the connection they have, but I just think a better manager is necessary right now. And the quicker the better, because sometimes these teams lower down take a bit too long to make that change, and then it kind of paints their whole season that way. When in reality, if you make that change soon enough, your season can really turn around.
Nuno? Villa? Nuno Villa from Wolves to Spurs to Villa?
I think they have more attacking ambition than what Nuno would do, I think, especially the players they bought. I think that's a bit too much of a handbrake.
Yeah, I agree. Someone, probably Josh or Owen there on the admin says over 1,200 watching. Let's get the likes to 500 people. Let's do that. And we just hit 85k as well while we've been live as well, which is incredible. So big up to everyone kind of locking in. Make sure you subscribe and like the video. 85, man. That hundreds incoming. Do you know what I'm saying? Mad. And remember as well, the link is in the video description below to Turkish London as well. Make sure you check out the channel. I mean, you're on like 60 something now, innit?
No, 52 live, man. 52
coming up to 60, 60 soon come. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's no reason why every man's numbers shouldn't be going up. Do you know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Watford, Southampton. Watford beat up Everton the week before, 5-2. Don Ranieri getting his first win. And then you're thinking, Southampton at home, because they got a tough run after this, a very, very tough run after that Southampton game. They got to win that. Southampton kind of in free fall, not playing very well, and it was the game could have been really out of sight from the first half chances that Southampton had. A chance cleared off the line by from what's his face, Ismail Assar. Apart from that, and then Ashley Fletcher near the end, they were struggling. They were struggling to create and defensively, giving up too many chances, and could have been worse for Watford. Southampton get that win that they badly needed. How do you see Watford at the minute and Southampton?
It's Watford with Tinkerman Ranieri. 1 week they'll win 5-2 away to Everton, and the next week they're losing 1-0 at home to South. That's Ranieri for you in a new side. In all honesty, I predicted both teams to go down, Southampton and Watford this season, and I haven't seen nothing to tell me otherwise. I think Southampton, Watford, and Norwich are my three to go down. And even though Southampton got the win, and all right, there is a couple players in there that have something, that's for sure. I just think that the performances so far this season, that was a 6-pointer for me, and Southampton got it done. But it's so early that I expect to see them in and around the same position next time they play each other. I don't think either manager will last the season, if I'm honest.
Do you not? You think Ranieri will get sacked if it goes wrong? Obviously, he will get sacked, and Watford will not pet if they can see it not going wrong, going right. Their model is laters. So we'll have to see. I just feel like there could be potentially enough teams that are bad for maybe like one of the great escapes from a Watford, from a Southampton, something like that. Because Leeds are not great. Yes, they beat Norwich yesterday, which we'll talk about, but Norwich are down and out. Newcastle, I think they're still going to be down there, but I think in January they're going to get some players. But sometimes when you try and get that big influx of players and change everything around, new managers, sometimes it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Burnley, yes, they got a big win the other day, which we'll talk about to finish off. You know what I mean? And Southampton. So I don't know. I feel like because there's usually a few more teams at the moment that are actually down there. Maybe that was what can give Watford hope. But I see what you're saying. It's going to be tough. It is going to be tough, game in, game out. Like you said, they might. I mean, the next game's Arsenal. Actually, next game's Arsenal away, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you should on paper, and with how they're playing and how they're defending right now, you should see Arsenal winning that game. But that's what I mean about why it was so pivotal for Watford to try and take something from that. Win against Southampton, because that would have been fantastic going into, let's face it, a really, really tough period for Watford, where they play then they play Man United, then they play Leicester, then they play Chelsea, then they play City. I mean, that's incredible.
His writings on the wall. I can't lie, Ranieri's the writings on the wall.
Do you know what I mean? And that's where that's really tough, because if you lose against Arsenal, you lose against Man United, then it's Leicester away, Watford, Chelsea home, Man City home.
Yeah.
Then it gets to sort of Brentford, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Wolves, more winnable fixtures. And that's why I think Watford fans are really within their rights to say we've got to beat Southampton, especially after beating Everton. That's 6 points in the bag there that we can have, maybe try and get a draw against one of them difficult teams and see what happens. But you're right. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Burnley got their first win of the season, finally. Sean Dyche relieved a little bit of pressure. I have to say, that corner looks all right. He looks good. He's quietly going about his business. It's like no one's really talking because it's Burnley and they're not really getting the wins. They're sleeping on this guy. He's just come to the league. And he's doing his thing on a personal level, and a big part of why Burnley got that win the other day.
Yeah, I was about to put him in my fantasy team on Friday, and I'm vexed I didn't. I was going to put him and Rafinha, and then both of them end up scoring. But yeah, corner, he looks good, and I think he had a goal disallowed, I believe, even yesterday.
Yeah, and he scored, and it was a great goal in the top corner that he did score as well.
Yeah, he scored a few clean strikes already. It's a good signing for Burnley, a signing that you don't normally associate with Burnley, but it is what it is. And one thing I want to say is with Burnley, Sean Dyche, I always say it, but I think he doesn't get enough credit for keeping Burnley in this league for as long as he has.
100%, I'm with you. It's insane. Playing 4-4-2 as well, shithousery football, Woods, Barnes. Like I know this is gonna sound mad, because you got to just like deep what I'm saying properly and not take it for face value. I actually enjoy watching it. Just old school, just get into the wing, whip it in, any form of corner, centre backs, get up, any form of free kick that could be deep, bro. There could be free kicks that are just in front of the halfway line. Ben Mee, Tarkowski, get up there with Wood and Barnes. We're dumping it in the mixer.
Put your body in there. That's it.
Do you know what I mean? It's refreshing, man.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Big Sam Bolton, Kevin Davies, and Nolan.
Yeah, 100%.
It reminds me of.
Yeah, it's true. Pure Gamer says we are finished. We stuck with Ollie to play a back five. Going back to the Man United thing, I was just having a good time then, and you just brought me back to reality. Says Pure Gaming. And Edro says, big up Flex in Turkish. Flex, honestly, I would take Graham Potter as United coach. He is top levels above our coaching staff. I believe he is better, but I just think the size of the task and the characters you have to manage as you come to Manchester United now. We don't need anyone who's going to learn on a job. And as much as Potter's doing well at Brighton and can transition into, like what Turkish just said there, a Villa would be perfect for Graham Potter. Maybe even the Spurs, but
or
like Man
Newcastle.
United or Newcastle, but a man with some serious money and back in there. But Man United handling players like Ronaldo, no disrespect. Now they're going to come and say Potter, huh? Who? You probably might have been saying that about Oli. Do you know what I mean? But at least Oli's been at a big club and won big stuff. I just think it's a bit beyond him right now. I think that's the job after his next job potentially. You never know. Flav says, how is Turkish only on over 50k subs? Everything he does, he needs to be on more like 100k. Come on, guys, give Turkish a follow, 100%, and that's just a matter of time. That's gonna happen.
Yeah,
that's gonna
love
happen.
my guy. I appreciate that.
Do you know what I mean? 100%. Loads of love in the chat today. And who did Wolves play actually? Wolves. Oh yeah, they lost. No, they play. Oh, they played today. They played today against Everton.
They played today.
That's a nice game. Yeah, nice game actually. I'll be watching that one. That'll be a tasty game at Molineux. See how they get on. Turkish man, been a pleasure. Oh, actually, just quickly. Sorry, we forgot. No disrespect. We've got to do all the teams. Norwich, Leeds, man. Norwich. I mean, just feel sorry for them, really. I mean, I know some people don't feel sorry for them and say, "Oh, just get out of the league and all that." Look, at the end of the day, they earned the right to be in the Premier League, and they won the Championship like they always do, and they are the true definition of a yo-yo club. But they're just so out of their depth. They're so far off surviving. They're so far off winning games. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think that Buendia loss is massive to them, man. Buendia was key to them last season. I know Buendia hasn't found form at Villa yet, but I don't think anyone has really at Villa.
No.
I just think, Norwich, the amount that Buendia did in terms of goals and assists and everything going through him in transition and attack, I think losing him was massive. And obviously, they didn't replace adequately enough. Villa lost Grealish, but I like the replacements they brought in and see something. Norwich lost Buendia, and I don't see anything. And that's why they are where they are, and that's why they're going to remain bottom three for the rest of the season. Yeah,
I think so. And Leeds, a few worries that, Bielsa would walk before he got sacked. I saw some of the fans saying on social media and in bad form. Obviously, look, no disrespect to Norwich, but if anyone beats Norwich, you got to kind of just move on. Like, you can't take too much, good or bad. Do you know what I mean? If you beat Norwich. But for Leeds, they have been struggling, but a big win for them. Do you think that he can turn a corner now, or do you think they're up against it as well in terms of staying in this division?
I think he can turn a corner, but sometimes you get these managers that just want to do what they want to do, and maybe what you want to do is not the best case scenario for what you're in at the moment. And I think coming into the league and having that shock surprise factor that Leeds had, it helped. Same way with Sheffield United and Wilder's overlapping centre backs. The first season it was a shock. It helped them. But, when teams get used to it, do you have anything else in your locker? And as much as we enjoy Leeds' style of play and a lot of people rate Bielsa, including me, I think he's at that moment now where he might need to find a plan B or risk kind of either leaving Leeds this season or getting sacked, because it doesn't seem like... Look, they beat Norwich, but they've got Leicester next at Ellen Road, but it's a big game. If they can...
Ellen Road hasn't been a fortress like we thought as well. No. Fans back, it's made zero difference.
Yeah. If they can beat Leicester, then I'd say Bielsa's turning a corner, but I don't see it going well for them over the with Leicester.
No. And like you said, he has one way of playing. That is it. It's high energy, it's intense, it's pressing, it's on the front foot, it's wide open defensively where they concede a lot of chances, and they never go, let's just tuck in a little bit and fall back. Like, we just conceded that. It's no, get the ball, go again. Jack Harrison bombing on.
Exactly.
Luke Kaylen, you know what I mean? It's just carnage. It's just players.
2-0 down, bomb up. 3-0 down, just go up there.
100%. You know what I mean? Give the fans something. At least we always play in the right way. You know what I mean? We try to win the game, which is, like I said, he was the darling in the first season. All last year, their first season back. No fans, I get that, but just they were the darlings, you know what I mean? Now it's Brentford, and they're finding it a bit tough with the last couple of results, not getting. I think Chelsea lost, Leicester lost against them, and then obviously losing against Burnley as well in that way. So they're finding it a bit tough now after starting off being the darling. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Leeds, but he needs to find another way to play. Listen, bro, pleasure as always. Do you know what I mean? Chopping it up on this as well. Make sure you guys check out Turkish's channel, Turkish LDN. Links in the video description. Watch the Big Shit show that he does. Brilliant show, brilliant show. Keep smashing it. And do you know what? Now I've got you just before you go. The Arsenal game got moved against United to December 2nd, my birthday, innit? My actual birthday. So I'm thinking, listen, Ollie will be there now. Before I was like, I don't think Ollie will even be there by then, last week, but he will be. We'll be probably still be playing 5 at the back by then. I can almost guarantee it. So
I think a 5-0 L against City and Ole's out. No, I don't see 2 5-0 against rivals and he's still there.
Listen, Turkish. I've seen stranger things, mate. With this board. I think it's try and keep Ollie in for the rest of the season, no matter what happens. Because now it's like, who do you even flipping get?
Yeah,
who do you even get? If they sacked Ollie after Atalanta, who would they actually get?
You have to price someone away from somewhere.
Exactly, which they're not going to be able to do right now. So we'll have to see. Big up people watching. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Later on today, we'll have Ollie's press conference and we'll have.
What are you saying, Flex? Wednesday, 1st of December. We're out in Manchester then, yeah?
Oh, hey, I'm in Manchester from Thursday for like 4 days. So
come on the Wednesday, the night before.
Wednesday, that's a good.
Wednesday. We enjoy the night out. Next day the game.
Flipping it, 5 days in Manchester. You're saying, yeah? All right, because I'll be out, man. I'll be out. I'm active from the 2nd onwards. But Josh is. All right, we'll have to see. I'll see if I can free myself up for the Wednesday. We'll see what's going on. Anyway, smash a like on the video, you lot. Subscribe if you lot are new. We are out of here. Peace.